The janitor who spoke 9 languages. Monday morning at Halberg International in Fort Worth, Texas. CEO Jonathan Kellerman was walking through the lobby when he heard something that stopped him cold: fluent Mandarin. But the voice wasn't coming from an executive, it was coming from a woman in a burgundy janitor's uniform. Denise Atwater stood near the lobby directory, helping a confused visitor in perfect Mandarin. As Kellerman watched in disbelief, she switched seamlessly to Spanish with a delivery man, then to French with a vendor. 3 languages in 3 minutes, effortless and precise. He'd seen her before, passing through halls after late meetings, always polite and quiet. He didn't even know her name. "Excuse me," he said, stepping forward. "That was Mandarin, right?" "Yes, sir. You speak it fluently." She nodded. "Also Spanish, French, Portuguese, German, Arabic, Italian, Swahili, and I read Latin." Kellerman blinked. "You're telling me you speak 9 languages?" "Yes, sir." No pride, no arrogance. Just truth. Minutes later, they were in his office. He asked the question directly: "How does someone like you end up cleaning floors?" She sighed. "I got a full ride to Kent State, majored in linguistics, was halfway through a master's when my mother got sick. I came home to take care of her. Then my dad died from a stroke 6 months later. I had a baby, no money, no partner who stuck around. So I worked whatever I could find. A supervisor here offered me night hours. It let me pick up my daughter from school and pay the bills. But I never stopped learning. I borrowed textbooks, listened to recordings, read newspapers in 5 languages just to stay sharp. Most people never asked. They saw the uniform and assumed. That word hung in the air. Assumed. The next day, Kellerman brought her upstairs when the Sao Paulo office arrived early and their translator canceled. Denise walked into the conference room and began speaking smooth, confident Portuguese. The Brazilian executives relaxed immediately. She wasn't just translating, she was connecting. One exec told Kellerman afterward, "She's better than anyone we've worked with this year." "Where do you find her?" "Right here," Kellerman said, watching Denise stack empty cups on a tray. That night, he sat in his car thinking about talent, about how they'd been searching globally while gold sat in their own building. The question became, what was he going to do about it? The next morning, he called Denise back to his office. "I want to create a new position, cultural liaison for international affairs. Someone who can speak the languages, handle visitors, vendors, documents, all the global touchpoints we're fumbling through. You're qualified, probably more than most people in our leadership team." She stared at him. "This real? As real as it gets. I don't have a college degree. You have something better. Lived experience and fluency in 9 languages. You think I care about a piece of paper? You know what people are going to say. I don't care." She studied him a long moment, then let out a slow breath. "All right then, let's see what I can do." By Wednesday, the building was buzzing. Some people smiled and said, "Good for her." Others whispered resentment in break rooms. "I have a master's degree and I've been waiting 2 years for a promotion." She was scrubbing toilets last week. But Denise proved herself quickly. She corrected mistranslations in contracts that had cost them money for years. When a Morocco delegation arrived and their North African expansion had been stuck for months, she spoke fluent Moroccan Arabic. One partner touched his chest in gratitude. "No one's ever done that for us." "Not in our language." Kellerman quietly renamed the main training room, the Atwater Room. Then came the pushback. Eleanor Craig, a senior board member, called Denise in for a meeting. "You have no college degree, no corporate training, no management certifications. Help me understand how someone with your background is handling high-level international affairs." Denise held her gaze. "Because I speak the languages. I understand the cultures. I've already fixed 2 vendor contracts and cleared a 3-month delay in our Morocco deal. You think this company should be run on instinct and charm? No, ma'am. I think it should be run on results." Eleanor stood slowly. "You're a gamble. I'm used to that," Denise said quietly. "My entire life's been one." Denise didn't back down. She showed up early, took calls without translators, stayed calm and sharp. A note appeared on her whiteboard: "We see you." People started coming to her for advice beyond translation. She mentored interns, offered guidance before big presentations, never talked down to anyone. She was changing the culture. With Kellerman's support, she launched Voices Inside, a program giving workers across departments access to language training and leadership mentoring. It caught fire. Eventually, she spoke at a logistics leadership summit in Cincinnati. "I was never just a janitor," she told the crowd. "I was fluent, I was capable, I was ready, but nobody looked long enough to see it. So the next time you pass someone without a title, ask yourself, what are you really missing?" The room stood in full applause. Afterward, a young man approached her with tears in his eyes. "My mom's a housekeeper and she speaks 5 languages. I used to be embarrassed to say that." Denise touched his arm. "Don't ever be ashamed of where you come from. The only thing to be ashamed of is staying blind to brilliance." She walked out taller than ever, not because of applause or promotion, but because she hadn't changed who she was to fit the role. She'd brought herself, every layer of her story, with her. Never assume you know someone's worth based on what they wear or where they work. Talent has no dress code. Intelligence doesn't need permission. And brilliance can walk past you wearing a name tag, holding a mop. Too often, people are measured by surfaces instead of substance. A uniform, a job title, or the lack of one becomes a shortcut for judgment, a lazy way to decide who deserves respect and who does not. In that moment, curiosity dies. Listening stops. And the extraordinary is quietly dismissed simply because it doesn't arrive in a polished package. History is full of people who were overlooked before they were celebrated. Innovators who were ignored, artists who were mocked, leaders who were doubted, until the world finally caught up with what they carried inside. Their value was never missing, it was simply unseen by those who relied on appearances rather than awareness. The tragedy isn't that talent exists in unexpected places, it's that so many never bother to look. Real ability doesn't announce itself with luxury or status. It develops in silence, in long hours, in lived experience. Wisdom grows from struggle as much as from education, sometimes more. The person quietly doing their work in the background may hold insights shaped by realities others have never faced. Their perspective can be sharper, their resilience deeper, their understanding more complete because they have learned without safety nets or applause. There is also dignity in honest work, regardless of how society ranks it. Every role that keeps life moving, cleaning, serving, fixing, maintaining, requires discipline, responsibility, and skill. To treat those roles as indicators of lesser value is not only unfair, it's ignorant. It ignores the fact that competence and character are built through effort, not prestige. When we reduce people to labels, we miss opportunities to learn. We miss conversations that could change us, ideas that could challenge us, and stories that could expand our understanding of the world. Respect should not be something people have to earn by meeting aesthetic or social expectations. It should be the starting point, not the reward. True intelligence doesn't always speak loudly. Sometimes it observes, absorbs, and waits. Sometimes it's too busy working to perform. And brilliance often moves through life unnoticed because it doesn't demand recognition. It simply exists, steady and capable, whether anyone is watching or not. The real test of character is not how we treat those who can benefit us, but how we treat those we believe cannot. When we choose humility over assumption, and openness over judgment, we begin to see people as they are rather than as we imagine them to be. In doing so, we don't just honor others, we refine ourselves. Because the world is full of remarkable minds hidden behind ordinary moments. And the ones who learn to recognize them are usually the ones wise enough to know that greatness doesn't always look the way we expect, because everyday life is where brilliance most often chooses to live. It hides in routines, in quiet persistence, in people who show up without applause and give their best without being asked. These minds are not waiting to impress. They are busy solving problems, enduring challenges, and learning lessons that rarely make headlines. Their strength is subtle, built through patience rather than performance. Those who learn to notice this kind of greatness understand that wisdom is not always dramatic. It doesn't need a spotlight or a stage. It reveals itself in thoughtful decisions, in calm under pressure, in the ability to adapt when circumstances are unfair or unpredictable. Often, it's found in people who have learned the hard way, through responsibility, sacrifice, and resilience, how to navigate the world with clarity and depth. Recognizing such value requires slowing down and letting go of assumptions. It means listening without prejudging, observing without ranking, and accepting that insight can come from anyone, anywhere. When we do this, we begin to see how much we've been overlooking, not because it wasn't there, but because we weren't looking with the right lens. True wisdom also brings humility. It reminds us that our own success is rarely self-made and that knowledge is not owned by a single class, profession, or appearance. The people we pass every day may carry solutions to problems we haven't even articulated yet. Their experiences may hold answers that no textbook ever covered. In learning to recognize quiet greatness, we expand our capacity for respect and understanding. We become more human, more grounded, and more aware of the shared intelligence woven throughout society. And perhaps most importantly, we learn that the measure of a person is not found in how they present themselves to the world, but in what they carry within, waiting for someone perceptive enough to see it.